What's up, everybody? Ken and I back for episode 42 of A Shot at Business Central and a Beer, the Business Central podcast that helps you to work out Business Central problems when you've thought of everything. This month we're talking Business Central as usual, but then we're going to take a deep dive into the beers we drink and some of the ridiculous ratings that we've given them. So if you're a fan of beer, this episode is going to be for you. Ken, I know you enjoy a cold one from time to time. So I bet it was pretty easy for you to get excited for this month's podcast.
Yeah, listen, I'm so excited. I'm going to say this. This episode may very well be, likely will be, the most informative and entertaining episode we have ever put together.
Wow, that's a lot to live up to. So I hope you're right.
Right? I mean, we are chock full of news and updates and information in our shot segment on Business Central. What's coming up and some news and industry and partners and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, as you mentioned, we are going to deep dive in a very lighthearted, fun segment. We've kind of reviewed all of our beer rankings over the past over about 40 beers, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it's been. And we've kind of re-ranked them and taken a step back and looked at it. And we'll be talking about what we changed and what we found out about ourselves as beer drinkers.
Yeah, and as the listeners, try to figure out whether or not you think we added. We I don't know, gave better ratings toward beers, or if we took rating points away from beers. If I had to guess and I was just listening, I would say, yeah, we probably all added more ratings. We like beer more than what we actually do, but we'll see.
Well, we're gonna dive down on the data and see what we came up with.
Yeah.
So what are we drinking today?
All right. Well, today, as usual, I go into Binny's and I walk around Binny's, like most 42-year-old single men do. And I happen to come across the O'Fallon smoked porter beer. I tend to smoke more meats when it gets a little bit colder out as opposed to summer. So I thought this might be a good pick. I've never even heard of a smoked beer before.
Right.
So at first glance, we poured it. It's dark. Very dark, right? No head at all, really, unless you pour like Ken did, where you just dump it all in real fast.
I intentionally went for a little head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, you take a smell and you get a smoke smell. I get a chocolatey smell, and I think I'm gonna like this, right? Because I tend to like. It reminds me of that coffee stout we had. Remember that?
Yeah. You get a little bit of that coffee, chocolate
coffee. Yeah.
Are you? Yeah. Are you cheating on your description? Were you online looking at beer reviews?
Yeah, I looked at the beer reviews.
Yeah,
Beer Advocate.
get to that. Yeah, smoky, chocolatey.
You don't get that?
Oh no, I do.
That's exactly what I get. Is smoke and chocolate.
That's very good. This is. I did a little bit of research on this, so this is indeed a porter style beer.
What's a porter style beer?
Thank you, Michael. You're reading right into my script. A porter is a style of beer developed, and this is of the, this has to be true because it was on Wikipedia.
Oh,
so
very credible.
Yeah, right. Can't be wrong. Porter is a style of beer developed in London early in the 18th century. So early 1700s.
Yeah.
Dark, and the appearance is due to the use of brown malt. So that's kind of
brown malt.
That's kind of where it gets its color and texture and flavor from. It's very popular, especially amongst working class people and porters, which is why it's called a porter.
Nice. So named after the people who drank it.
Yeah, a porter, right? What the hell's a porter? A person who carries objects or cargo for others. Oh. So think like a hotel porter, luggage. A railroad porter.
Yeah.
Right.
So blue collar kind of worker.
Yeah.
Good working people.
Yeah. So that's what a porter is. Porter is also like originally it was like stout. right?
Yeah.
It almost looks like a stout. It's just dark, black. Like you can't see through it.
No.
And they kind of split off at some point later in the 18th century, I think, kind of officially started calling certain porters stout porters. And then eventually they just became stouts,
Gotcha.
like a Guinness or something. But basically the same family, same types of
Now,
beers.
do you know how they make a smoked beer? Like what do they do to give it that smokiness?
What I don't know exactly what the flavor is. Smoked malt.
Right, correct, yeah. He's on Google.
No, these are my notes. Yeah, no, I did a little research on this.
Yeah, so right, so the malted barley has been smoked or dried, however you want to say it, over an open flame.
Yeah, no, you can definitely pick it up.
Oh, it's huge smoky. Let's go for a sip, see what we
I like it now because I'm sitting here, right, in an office, and it's like that smoky kind of gives you that, right? You can envision the fire.
The barbecue, whatever.
I'm not sure if I was actually sitting out in front of a fire with smoke blowing on me, that I would also want a smoky beer.
So you're saying,
would that be too much smoke?
I don't know. See, I kind of think this is different. So I kind of think campfire, smoked beer, what do they call those things when you with the chocolate and the marshmallow? S'mores. Actually, this would go pretty well with a s'more.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, it might be a lot, especially when the smoke starts blowing in your face and your eyes are watering.
Yeah. So yeah, this is from the O'Fallon Brewery, who puts this beer together. They call it a dark, rich, and smoky beer. Classic porter, 63% German smoked malt. Makes a perfect after dinner sipper for those who love a bigger beer.
Nice. It's also the winner of the gold medal in the 2004 Great American Beer Festival for best smoked beer in America. I never heard of the gold medal in the 2004 the Great American Beer Festival. You heard of the Great American Beer Festival?
Oh yeah, Sam Adams beer.
Oh yeah.
Way back in the day, bragged that they were the winner of the gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival for X number of years in a row. Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a legit thing, or is it kind of like, when you see cars, the JD Power Award or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
All these awards, right? But did you read the whole thing? Winner of the gold medal in the 2004 Great American Beer Festival for the best smoked beer in America.
Yeah. How many smoked beers are in America?
Right. Yeah.
It's the first one I've ever seen. Have you ever had a smoked beer?
I've not. No.
Oh, wow.
It's my first porter on the show, although I've had porters before.
Yeah.
But definitely not a smoked beer.
I think we should tell
of any kind.
The listeners, it's only 6% alcohol, 5.9, really not that much. Bitterness, 24 IBUs.
Low.
So, yeah, which when you see this, it looks like a chocolatey, malted, I don't know, you know what I mean? It looks smooth, right?
Yeah.
To quote Jay Cutler with his bourbon, smooth.
Smooth, yeah. Although I was pouring it, it kind of like poured into my glass, like almost looking like motor oil.
Yeah, well, motor oil is nice and smooth and thick, and kids, I went on Beer Advocate. Did you go on Beer Advocate?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, did you find any funny?
I've got a couple gems.
Oh, let's hear them. I couldn't.
You want the good one or the bad one first?
Let's always go with the bad first. Go with
bad first.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my favorite bad review. All right. Reminded me of cheap root beer. I did not notice until after a few sips that I realized that it was full of floaters. I bought this at a bottle shop and forgot to check the date. When I looked, I could not decipher the code. What a shame. I could just not get over the amount of sediment swirling around in my glass.
You might want to check your dishwasher or something.
That's a bad beer.
I don't know if that's true.
I mean, when I hear someone say that there's a floater, my mind goes somewhere it shouldn't probably. But
have you ever had a beer that was just so bad that it materialized into floaters? I mean, how long would that take?
I don't think so.
I don't think I've ever seen
I've had really bad old beer that was clearly like undrinkable because it was like so old.
But it looked normal.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
smelled bad, but no, there's no floaters. That is.
You guys watches that one movie from like the 80s, when all the kids and they're in the pool with the lifeguard and I think it was it
Caddyshack?
Caddyshack, yeah, it ends up being the Snickers bar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guy drops the candy bar into the pool.
Yeah, and everybody screams and panics.
Exactly.
then
That's
he
a
eats it.
floater. We have a floater.
Yeah.
Yeah. The theme of the beer, if you amongst the reviews, the common terms I saw was smoky flavor, bacon, chocolate, brown sugar.
Bacon.
And the consensus is probably the smokiness, right?
Yeah.
The consensus was very good beer, but a little bit light for this style of beer. You know, these people always want
Light,
bigger and stronger
flavor,
right?
Yeah.
Stronger, more alcohol, more flavor.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I actually, well, I can almost agree with that, right? I think that if you had a little bit stronger alcohol in this, where maybe it was like a 6.5 or 7, it would still be really good, right? And it might decrease the smokiness. I think there's a lot of smokiness in it right now.
Yeah.
And it might take away just a little bit of it while adding just a little bit more strength to
Yeah,
it.
but 6 is plenty.
No, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we're just nitpicking here.
Yeah. But here's one. This one, I think like this is just one paragraph, but I feel like this person, like I'm trying to picture him spending like probably 20 to 30 minutes writing this. Like it's just, here we go. Poured a dark caramel brown into a 10-ounce Bangkok beer fluted glass with a slightly effervescent tan head that quickly dissipated. Very dainty lacing with natural carbonation present throughout. Aromas of smoked bacon, caramel, and dark chocolate coffee malts up front. Taste is smoke forward with a long, earthy, coffee-type finish. Mouth is a little thin for this style, but would consider medium-bodied. Very nice, flavorful, solid porter that I enjoyed thoroughly.
Occupation, sales rep at O'Fallon Brewery.
There you go.
Like, come on now. I mean,
right. That's like a love
20,
story.
30 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Unless you're writing the same review for everybody.
Dainty, slightly effervescent.
Caramely, bacony.
Yeah.
I don't get, well, maybe caramely, maybe. Bacon, no.
Flavorful, you know.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's always enjoyable.
Dissipating.
I always, it's always one of the highlights of my beer segment is seeing what the characters out on the internet like to say about these things.
It's actually ranked though high, right, on Beer Advocate?
Although I got to tell you, it'd be like, right, it'd be better than like you or I, like if you could put together like a listing of every review that you and I give these.
Mine's easy.
Yours would be easy. It'd be like pretty good.
Hot summer day.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Mine's simple.
Pretty good.
Oh God. But yeah, it's got a high rating on Beer Advocate. I can't remember if you mentioned it, but I think it scored 87. Right?
Yeah.
Ranked number 23 in smoked porters.
Yeah. So yeah, we have heavy beer here now, and we're going to be heavy on beer the rest of the segment. But we have a very, very good and informative shot segment today. So that's going to be the bulk of our Business Central talk. And then I think we have 2 types of listeners.
Okay.
I think we have listeners who tune in specifically for the shot of news and the application features and discussions. And then we have another segment of listeners that only tunes in for the intros and the beer talk.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to have a little bit for both parties, right? There's 2 segments. You got a big Business Central news segment. You got a big beer segment.
Yeah, we just got to bridge that gap to bring everybody together. Oh, too funny. All right. Well, next up then, 20.5, Ken, right? Or
shot.
Yeah, the shot. So talk to everybody then.
All right, back for a shot of Business Central. We got a long runway here, topics today. all newsworthy and informative. First, like usual, we like to start it off with the current release update. So version 20.5. You should be up and running if you're on Business Central Online on version 20.5. Has some platform hot fixes, application hot fixes, and several localization hot fixes like usual. I did scroll through these 26 application hot fixes, and what kind of caught my eye is that there's some fixes in there that are kind of some standard type things that people should be aware of. So like in this latest release, for example, if you use the account schedule overview page, there were some issues with dimension filtering, which is probably something that people use a lot. Also, dimensions in the analysis views were not updating if you use the dimension correction function. So they just released that function not too long ago to correct dimension entries and GL entries. But I guess the analysis views weren't being updated to reflect those changes.
Gotcha.
Also, attachments weren't visible on the jobs list page. So if you're using jobs, and you could also create jobs for blocked customers. So some pretty general type things that were found and corrected.
I'm surprised more people didn't notice that. I mean,
Right.
I didn't hear too much about it until the updates came out.
Yep. So, just to kind of stress the importance of doing these updates, that you think that they're just minor updates, it's a monthly update. It could very well have a fix that's going to resolve an issue that you've been experiencing.
I would say a lot of the updates actually are pretty impactful, right? Maybe not the ones so much, closer to the major releases, which is why this one is so surprising with these impactful application fixes.
Yeah.
But a lot of them have pretty meaningful, fixes and updates and whatnot, and even feature releases.
Yep. So what do you know about 2022 Wave 2?
So what do I know about 2022 Wave 2? I know that, well, first of all, there's going to be a Business Central launch event that Microsoft is going to put on. It's going to be from October 10th through the 12th. It's virtual, and it is a virtual event for everybody to be able to see the new features and functionality. Microsoft's going to go through it all. We'll put a link for that in the show notes. Other than that, I know it's still scheduled. Nothing has changed. So starting October, you're going to start seeing the rollout.
Yep. I did check a verified, right? It's almost the 1st of October here, right? Early October. You can go into the admin center in Business Central, create a new sandbox if you want to preview some of the new version 21. It is 21.0. If you want to check some of those new features out.
Now, what if I wanted to take my production environment that's currently running? I know you can take a production environment and copy it to a sandbox environment. Can I copy my production environment to an updated version 2021 sandbox environment?
You cannot. Not today, not before 2022 Wave 2 is officially released. Gotcha. So, and this was maybe a little confusing for people because, to your point, yes, you can copy. There's a copy button where you can copy your production environment to a sandbox.
So if my production environment is 20.5, it copies to 20.5 sandbox.
Yes. Right. Okay. And or there's also a new feature where you can create a new sandbox and you can select which version you want. So you could select the preview version 21.
Yeah.
But it's going to come with just the demo data and without all of your extensions and apps and everything in there.
Not the customer's data.
Right. So how do you combine those two things together? Right. Because
can you?
You can't. You can. However, there's a catch. So prior to the official release of the new version 21, let's say in this case, you cannot do this. However, here's what you could do. What you could do is you could go in and schedule your production environment to be upgraded to version 21 out in the future, as far out as you can go.
Okay.
And that will prevent your current production environment from getting upgraded right away, or when you don't want it to yet. Then wait for version 21 to start getting deployed out into BC Online. Now that it's deployed, copy your production environment to a sandbox. So now you've got an identical copy of your production environment in sandbox. And now schedule the upgrade of your sandbox immediately. And now that version 21's out, the sandbox will be upgraded. And now you've got your data, your extensions and apps in the new preview version in the sandbox so that you can test it.
It's a great workaround.
Yeah, you just have to be careful, right? And in the date, right? The dates, and make sure you remember to, don't schedule your production environment upgrades so that, you don't come in one day and whoop, all of a sudden Microsoft has updated your production environment.
Right, yeah. So schedule that out a few weeks
as far out as you can at the time.
So you have time to update your sandbox.
Because then if and whenever you are ready for your production environment to get updated, you verified everything. Okay, now just go change your update schedule on your production environment, and then it'll get updated as soon as you're ready, right?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a great workaround. Master Ken is back at it.
Oh yeah, devious. Yeah.
Speaking of devious and diabolical and all those good things,
Microsoft?
No, Ken, you recently attended Dynamics Con.
I did.
Yep. You have a little update on it? I know you presented with Mr. Ben Baxter.
I do. Yeah, I do have an update. Yeah, this was September 14th through the 16th. It was the Dynamic User Group Dynamics Con conference. Hold on, let me make sure I got the right stuff here. Yeah, it was in San Antonio. Overall, very nice conference. Right. Had a good time. I would say, if everyone wants to know, like, how many people were there? I don't have the exact number. I'm going to say like 500 or 600 people, right, give or take 100 on each side. I don't know, but it felt good, right? It was.
It felt more like a community, right?
Yeah, it did. It felt like a good conference. It was a little bit different than previous user conferences. How they organized it was they had one session for BC scheduled during each time slot.
All in the same room?
Same room. So you had the same group. And I kind of liked that. It was like the people were kind of in the same area. You got to get comfortable. You were able to interact with those same people and get to know them really well because you were all kind of hanging out for a couple days. Yeah. Right. Get to learn and have a lot more better discussions with other users than you might normally when everyone's scattering around.
Right. So you're saying there wasn't multiple Business Central sessions going on at once, right?
Correct.
They were just back to back to back in the same room.
Right.
That's pretty nice.
So I really liked that
time in between sessions. Sorry.
How much time was between sessions? Like 10 minutes.
Oh, good. Yeah,
not
good.
Much. Enough time to
once you're scrambling to
go grab some coffee, whatever, get a snack, come back in, leave all your stuff there.
Yeah.
Right. Nice. You could get camped out, a little bit, and again, have some really good discussions over a couple of days with some other users and really meaningful, I think, topics. So that was kind of really cool. I also really they had two very nice evening receptions. So 5 to 7 each day, outdoors, really nice outdoor space at the conference center, live music, some heavy apps and cocktails and drinks and stuff, open bar. Just a really nice, just a nice atmosphere, beautiful weather. We got, really hot and humid.
Yeah,
San Antonio.
Course, yeah. Were sessions from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or
some
start later?
About probably more like 8 to maybe 4:30.
Gotcha.
And then these receptions from 5 to 7 each day. So yeah, it's probably kind of cool. Although I couldn't, this was the second live Dynamics Con live annual conference. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to next year, which is actually in May 23rd to the 25th in Scottsdale, Arizona. Gotcha. I believe going forward, the Dynamics Con conference is going to be continued to be in May going forward. because there also is the Dynamics Community Summit from the Dynamic Community Group, which is going to be coming up here very soon,
Generally.
October 14th through the 18th in Orlando.
Yeah, and they're generally in fall
Right,
that
October-ish, right. So,
No,
you know,
it makes sense because otherwise they're too close together.
different conference, but you got, you know, both two different user conferences. Seems like, you know, some different flavors, similar, you know, both beneficial, but little bit different flavors out of those two.
Same idea though. I mean, I think whether they have some people from Microsoft presenting at Dynamics Con or anything like that.
You know, not too much, not too many Microsoft. But the speakers that were there were good. I think, my opinion, all great, good, very good, great speakers. Like the content session was very good.
How was your session?
So mine went well. Yeah, we talked about jobs in manufacturing and looking at the whole content of the conference for BC. You know, ours was one of the only ones that focused on exclusively jobs in manufacturing. So we had an opportunity also at the end to like open it up. What other questions do you have on jobs in manufacturing?
Oh,
And
I bet there was a lot.
you know, the first person you know that we called on said, "I'm glad you just said that because my question has nothing to do about what you guys just talked about." Right. So, but I think the users, people that attended, got a lot out of it.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't. My last thing is I you know, this wouldn't be a shot of Business Central and a beer if I didn't mention the delicious beer that I had while I was there.
Oh, really?
So while I was down there, I got a brew. The brewery was called Freetail. It's a local San Antonio brewery, and it was called Sold Out IPA.
Sold out, like soul, like soul of the country.
SOUL.
Nice.
SOUL.
Yeah.
DOUBT. Sold out.
Really?
Sold out. Get it?
It's interesting. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I wonder what's behind the naming of it though.
IPA, I don't know, it's just clever, right? They can't keep it in stock, I guess. It's sold out. But it was excellent. I gotta make sure to give a shout out to Freetail here while, you know, down in San Antonio enjoying a solid beer. Local craft brew.
You putting it up there with the zombie dust and the juicy.
It would be like my typical like 94.
Really?
No.
Like wow.
It was though. No, it was very good. I'm not going to rate it, but it was very good. It was hot and humid out, and I was outside. Oh. And it just went. Yeah.
Oh,
went down.
Yeah, you gotta have a cold.
Went down really nice. While I'm at it, I just want to highlight. So the conference, yeah, it was very, very good. Couple other conferences that are coming up I just want to mention. So Dynamics Con also has a virtual full day, March 15th of 2023. And then also November 9th through the 11th this year is the Directions EMEA conference, which is in Hamburg, Germany. From what I understand, I talked to a few people that are going to be attending that. They said, you know, usually it's a pretty decent sized crowd, maybe usually around 2,000 people.
Really?
There. Yeah. So, this is kind of a partner event.
Yeah.
They said they usually get a pretty good turnout. You know, we'll see, what this year holds. We're coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
So hopefully it is a good turnout, but, yeah, lots of good events. And then a couple more things on the Dynamics. If anyone's going to the summit in Orlando, just a little bit of some details here, or if you're considering going, right? There's going to be, just for BC/NAV, right? 180 to 200 sessions.
Really?
And these are the 7 major categories of topics. They have the ABCs of BC, meaning like entry level stuff, administration, development and architecture, finance, manufacturing, moving to BC. So if you're considering upgrading, and then supply chain. It's about $1,500 per attendee for the conference. You can get 1-day passes, even half-day passes, or expo only passes, as well as a streaming pass plus on demand.
A streaming pass
So,
plus on demand.
Yeah, so if you
wow.
cannot
So they're
physically
actually-
go to Orlando, you can get a streaming pass. They're going to be streaming sessions. I don't know exact which ones or all of them. And on-demand content after the conference. You can go watch the sessions. What's the price of that, Michael?
All right. So obviously it's risen in popularity. They need the infrastructure. $950.
$99.
$99?
$99. Yeah.
That's
Right?
pretty cheap. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So that makes it worth checking out, right? Especially if you
Wow.
can watch the sessions on demand after the conference. Because I know that what happens if you attend a virtual conference, you go to work and you sit down and you start doing 100 other things, and it's 4:30 and you realize you haven't even watched 30
Mhm.
minutes of the conference sessions. I mean, at least that's how it goes for me.
Still
So
$99.
yeah, and I'll
Good
tell you
God.
what, right? So there is an alert. I went on the website. If in case most people are probably aware, but in case you're not, right? Hurricane Ian just blew through Florida, caused a lot of damage. So there is a message. I'll just read it here. I'm not sure. Maybe by the time we drop this episode, things will have changed. But right now it says, all of us at Dynamic Communities are closely monitoring Hurricane Ian as we hope for the best from anyone in harm's way. We're reacting in compliance with all local and state requirements as we stay in daily contact with the Gaylord Palms for the event. While the hurricane will pass prior to Community Summit opening its doors, we will continue to update the community on any issues or concerns that would impact us all. So,
Nice. Did it say what city the summit's in?
Orlando.
Oh, Orlando?
Mhm.
Okay, so in the middle
Yep.
of the middle of Florida.
Yeah. So, yeah. So definitely, stay in touch, check the status. Hopefully things will be fine by the 14th, but just, you never know.
I gotta give, kudos to the people who run this with the $99 virtual ticket or whatnot.
You're
I mean,
stuck on that, huh?
well, I've been thinking for years that I don't understand why a lot of them don't have a virtual option as it is. I mean, it's not that hard to do anymore, right? But $99 and it looks like it might even pay off a lot with the hurricane and whatnot, if they can't get a lot of people down there.
Yeah, they may be able to draw in a lot of people with that, right?
Yeah.
That I wouldn't otherwise have even considered going. But if I can learn some stuff at that price point.
Yeah, because it's geared a lot towards customers in the first place. So
yeah,
for $99 a user.
Yeah. So
pretty good.
it's a lot of user conference news there, huh? Jammed in.
Always a good thing. Well, only thing I got left on my list, and I think you have it on yours, is the very popular subject nowadays, the granular delegated admin privileges, otherwise known as GDAP.
Oh yeah, very popular. Everyone's
very
buzzing
popular.
about it.
Yeah.
It's trending on Twitter.
Trending on Twitter, yep. Upwards and upwards.
So what do you want to take the honor, or would you like me to? What the heck are you talking about? Granular delegated administrative privileges.
Yeah, well, currently partners can only choose between like having access to all of a customer's cloud information or none of their cloud information. It's, you get delegated admin privileges, so you either see it all or you see none of it.
There's like a global admin checkbox, right? And if
Right.
you have to be a global admin to administer Business Central for a customer, but that then also means that you can see
You
other
can go into everything else they have.
other non-Dynamics type
Right.
products and things.
So the premise behind this is actually a pretty good idea. What Microsoft is doing is they're introducing granulated administrative privileges. So if you're just their Business Central partner for the customer, you might get something called the Dynamics 365 admin role, to where you can only deal with the
Right.
customer's Business Central solution. You can't go into their Azure or their Dynamics 365 sales or Office or whatever it may be.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That's all well and good, right?
Yeah, seems like a good idea, right?
Yeah.
That gives people better control on what they can or can't administer and change and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, and I don't want to say in typical Microsoft fashion, but I kind of do. Instead of adding to what they call the what it was, the
DAP, delegated admin privileges.
DAP, thank you. instead of just adding these new privileges to the DAP, Microsoft wants partners to migrate all customers, well, allegedly migrate all customers from the DAP to the GDAP, and they have to assign privileges to each and every customer. When, in my opinion, what they should do is, if you've got delegated admin privileges on the DAP, fine. If you have customers that don't allow you to have delegated admin privileges, talk to them, see if you can just get a Dynamics 365 admin privilege or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and add it to that. But I don't know.
But let's say you do this and you go through it, and once you go through that change, then once you do it once, you're done. And now you have that granular delegated admin privilege for D365. You're forever, you're good?
Of course not,
No,
right? It's only good for, I think, 2 years is what
up
they
to
said.
2 years.
Up to 2 years. And I mean, let's be honest too, after 3-4 months, Microsoft might say, we're holding off on it. Don't worry about it for a while.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But
I read through the Q&A, like FAQs, right? Frequently asked questions about it. And I saw a little bit of contradictory things. They said that the old delegated administrative plan is going away and being completely replaced with this new granular plan, which makes you believe that you're going to have to transition every customer, right, to this. But then in another FAQ down below, it says that this is only something that you're going to need to do if you want to assign granular level permissions, which is a big difference, because I totally get that. Huge like difference. if we only have granular privileges for 10% or 5% of our customers, then we only have to deal with those.
yes,
But to deal with every single customer account,
it takes time.
So I think that, the public service announcement PSA here for everyone is, in October or beyond, maybe who knows when, if your partner has difficulty connecting to a customer environment, or if you're a partner and you have difficulty now seeing or connecting to that customer, it's very well likely that it's because of this admin privileges transition, or whatever they're calling it.
So make sure you know who your Office 365 global admin is, because they're probably going to have to be the one to accept the granular permission offered by the partner. It's just, there's so many changes going on lately. It's just going to be another hassle. I like the second option you said, where it just only applies to the 5 or 10% that haven't given the partner delegated admin privileges.
Right.
And if you only had to sign them granular, great. Right.
Yeah.
That's what it should be for. But if you got to go through it all, what John, he was a pretty good comedian, John Panette, who actually passed away like 5-6 years ago. And he would always say, when something like this, he'd say, nay, nay, I don't like it. Nay, nay. So
nay, nay. Yeah. A couple other things here. So first of all, as of September 30th, 2022, the old Microsoft Partner Competency Program, according to Microsoft, officially ends. So your gold certifications and silver certifications go away, and they're being replaced by a new partner badge program, where you can earn badges in one of 6 categories, or 7, I don't know what, 6 categories. So, and that kicks off like October 1st or October 2nd or whatever. And partners now have a whole bunch of different hoops to jump through to become a certified partner.
Yeah.
So, this isn't, again, is it really going away? When is it going away? Or when is it changing?
Yeah.
Let's see how this rolls out. But as soon as October 2nd, if you're a partner, you can go into your CSP, look under membership, and see how many points you've earned to see if you qualify for one of these badges at this point.
And from what it sort of looks like, though, is that if you're a Microsoft Gold or Silver partner or whatnot, only anywhere from 5 to maybe 20% of those partners are going to qualify as
with one of these badges,
with one of the on the new system. So
and Business Central is officially currently listed as included under the modern work
right
classification, not the business applications classification.
Right.
So tell me if that
Makes no
makes
sense.
sense.
No,
I don't know.
not at all. I'll tell you no.
Okay, thank you.
But so yeah, like you said, over the next year, it's gonna be interesting to see when partners start having to or when their whatever it's called is up, their gold level status or silver
Mhm.
levels, whenever it's up, it's gonna be interesting to see when partners, what they do, if they complain about it or whatnot, when they can't make
Yeah.
or get one of these badges. So
Okay, I have just a couple more notes, and this is just more on, I had, like, just over the recent news I've seen out there, talked to a couple of people at the Dynamics conference. You may have noticed, or maybe you don't notice, I don't know, like I know you're busy, right? You got things to do, but
are you talking to me or people listening?
everyone, yeah. There's been a lot of partner consolidation recently. If you, right?
A
A lot of partners are acquiring other partners, right? Absorbing them. I think a lot of this has to do with a lot of the Microsoft stuff and raising the bar and having people jump through more hoops to maintain status
The only
and
way you're gonna be able to do it
margins
then.
and benefits. So yeah, we're all, we're dealing with it. We've been on the right side of the fence every time so far, and we plan to continue to be. But yeah, you're seeing a lot of partners getting purchased by other partners.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just equity, lot of money out
Yeah.
there available for people to invest in and grow their partners. And maybe some people want to sell and move on.
In theory, right? This seems to cater towards larger partners, in my opinion, and we tend to fall in that category. So, are we going to benefit from it? I guess because we'll make up an edge or whatever. But for most people, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
kinda wrong.
yeah, it's mainly larger partners acquiring smaller partners for the most part, adding resources to their teams and, and adding some efficiencies by having a larger organization. But yeah, we'll see. Time will tell how that works out. And kind of related to that, I guess, is that Avalara, right? Sales tax, Avatax product. They have been acquired by Vista Equity Partners for $8 billion. So Avalara was a publicly traded company. Vista Equity Partners purchased it. And now it's a private company.
Yeah.
So I did have a couple conversations with people, and for the most part, what it seems like is that Avalara is going to continue to focus on sales tax, grow their customer base and their product offerings, right? It's not like they got purchased by another sales tax provider,
right.
And they're going to merge those products or anything like that. This is a strategic play by a private equity company to try to develop the company and grow the company to much more.
And I think for the private equity company that purchased Avalara, this is going to make up 20% of their portfolio. So
it's a
big purchase for the equity company. So they'd be crazy to just nix it or whatever, do whatever with it.
Yeah, $8 billion. That's a lot of coin.
It's chump change to some.
So yeah. Right. But I think we've exhausted ourselves here on the shot segment. Tell me that wasn't the best right there, huh?
Yeah, right? Especially for the month before a major release.
Right? Woo,
pretty good.
We're rolling, and we're going to continue rolling in our next and final segment. Our lighthearted look at our
lightheaded.
Lightheaded. Yeah.
We'll be rolling literally.
I think it is a lightheaded view of our beer rankings. So stay tuned for a bunch of malarkey coming up next. All right, welcome back, everybody. Now is the hour where this is going to be a truly unique segment. So let me kind of set the backdrop a little bit for you here. So, maybe you're new to our podcast, or maybe you just never make it all the way to the end. I get it, right?
Shocking.
You're busy. But so if you're new or you haven't been through this, you know that every podcast we drink a different beer. different types of beers, flavors, or whatever, right? And then we drink it throughout the podcast. And then when we get to the very end, we each assign a rating to the beer. And we use a scale of 0 to 100.
Yep.
And so and then after the show, Michael documents what we rated each beer. And if you go out to our podcast page, you can see there's like ratings and all the stuff and notes that we've got on it. But anyways, over 3+ years, right? 42 episodes now. We've drinking approximately 40 beers. And we've what we did is we looked at it and said, let's take a step back and let's look at these ratings. And what have we learned? So let's go back and let's do a couple things. First, let's go back and let's each of us re-rank all of our ratings. And then let's compare our original rating to our new rating. And then let's compare our ratings against one another to see where are we similar, where are we different, what did we change?
Gotcha.
So that's what we're going to be doing here, shooting the breeze, having a second O'Fallon smoke porter here as we kind of go through this list and kind of highlight some of the interesting tidbits in the data.
Yeah.
Right.
Because as we drink more beers, our palates obviously become more educated. And, you tend to find more things that you like and more things that you hate. So I would imagine, I don't know for you, we'll figure it out, but some of the first beers that we drank, for me, had the biggest changes in points and rankings and whatnot, just because, you drink so many other different beers, you find out, yeah, I like this one a little bit better than this. So,
right. What's also very difficult is that as myself, someone who enjoys beer, while I'm sitting here drinking the beer, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. I kind of like this beer, right? I'm drinking it, I'm in the middle of it. And then maybe, the next day or a week later, I'm thinking about it more and I realize, maybe that wasn't great. What's similar to that is if you ever go to the movies,
yeah,
right? And you go to the movies and you're walking out of the movie theater, almost always you're like, yeah, that was a pretty good movie, right? But then like a
6
month
months
later or a year later, you're like, oh, that movie sucked.
Yeah, you see it on TV, you don't want to watch it again.
Yeah, you're like, that was garbage. Like, right?
gotcha.
I think you're in the moment.
The experience, yeah.
Yeah. So
bigger picture's better.
I myself am guilty of being overexcited. And as we will see here soon, I'm like, JoJo the circus boy
yeah.
with my ratings usually. So,
They've changed so much.
yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to go down the list here or what?
Yeah, so let's go. Why don't I'm gonna highlight what I found about myself, and you can comment on that, and then and then you can highlight what you found out about what your rankings and changes and everything.
All right.
So again, if you've been around, I'll start. If you've been around, I've recently been saying that I don't like my historical rankings. I bunched everything up like from 80 to 96.
Yeah.
Like I had like 20 beers or 30 beers between 80 and 96. And I got to the point where I was like locking myself in on what I could assign a rating to something. Right. And I thought I should use the whole 100-point spectrum a little bit better. And the one kind of rule that I stuck to which is what I've been using the whole time, which is if it's under 50, then it's a beer that I almost certainly or most likely don't want to have a second one of. Right. Like I didn't enjoy it so much that I'm just going to have one and then I'm going to switch to something else. Okay. So what I did was I took all my beers and I kind of evenly spaced them out. Amongst the 0 down to pretty much, and then I went down from my highest ranking, which is a 96 Zombie Dust from Three Floyds, and I went down kind of two points until I got down to like 34 points for my lowest ranked beer, Groove Grove. Or wait,
Okay.
did I rank O'Fallon each? No, maybe not.
No.
Okay. So yeah, so Groove Grove, it was like a banana, kind of tasted like banana. Had
Is
like
that your lowest ranking group?
yeah, yeah, had like a banana feel kind of to it. It was like a tall boy.
I remember. I picked it out.
Yeah. and it's-
We had Stacy on that podcast.
So what's kind of interesting if you look at my rankings, right? You noticed right away that I didn't increase my rating
Yeah.
on any beer.
You murdered the list. You killed every one of these beers' rankings and dropped so many of them. You didn't increase one. I mean, there is a lot of red on this.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my average drop was 15 points. Was my average.
Well, that makes sense, right?
change.
Because your overall average used to be around 84 that you gave a beer, and now it's around 69. So there you go.
Yeah, I guess that math has to work out.
Yep.
Right. So
God,
yeah, so
15 points.
yeah, there were a few, like, for example, just a couple of the largest drops that I had here was Fat Tire, which was one of the earlier beers that we had, which I was like, I must have been really drunk. I gave it like a 90 out of 100.
You brought that in, I think.
Yeah, I think I did. It turns out that I'm re-ranking that at a 48, right? Okay. Now the other thing I did, once I kind of got that, I got them more spaced out evenly to take advantage of the whole point range.
Yeah.
I then compared almost all of them head to head with each other. Like envision like I'm walking up to the refrigerator and I open up the door and I'm looking for a beer.
Yeah.
And there's just two beers in there. You know, there's a Budweiser and a Dynamo Copper Lager. Which one am I going to drink? Which one am I grabbing to get that beer?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, I think I prefer the Dynamo Copper Lager. So I then put that on top of Budweiser.
Yeah.
Ranked it above it.
No, it makes sense.
Right. And I went all the way down to kind of fit each beer kind of into the right stuff.
Yeah. But you went through and I mean, and just.
So
I'm surprised you didn't increase rankings on any of them though.
No, because I was overrating every time.
Everyone.
Yeah. So I rated, I don't know why, we must have missed a few on here, but I have on my list that I have 36 beers.
Okay.
That I ranked. And there are 8 of them that are ranked below 50, meaning I'm not interested in having a second one. I'll have one, right? But I'm not going to have 2.
It's interesting. I think we need some fact checkers.
Yeah, I mean,
how many fat tires did you have?
Right. I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I was giddy.
No, I know. Yeah, looking back on it though, yeah. No, I agree. My list, a little bit different than yours. My point totals didn't drop as much as Ken's. I think I had 1, 2, 3 beers where the biggest drops were. I dropped them 10 points. Zombie Trust, I dropped 10 points just because that was our first beer. Like you said, I was giddy, like a high school girl at a dance, and it was just what I mean. You rated high first beer. Well, I dropped. We had Weller Special Reserve. One time I dropped that 10 points, and then the Dynamo Copper Lager, which I liked, but
not a 94.
Yeah, looking back on it, I can't believe I gave it a 94.
I think that was a pretty early on.
Yeah, so I dropped that to 84, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I got here. Carlsberg Danish Pilsner, I dropped 5 points. Went from 93 to 88, so still a good beer.
Yeah.
Here's one that a lot of the listeners might disagree with me on. Budweiser. I went from a 72 to a 77. I actually increased the score of Budweiser, which is probably unheard of in today's beer world. But it's not that bad of a beer. Not the greatest, but I think I just went super low with it.
I'm looking at some of the beers that you ranked now on your re-ranking that you have now below a 77 or Budweiser.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost agree with every one of them that I'd rather have a Budweiser than those.
Yeah.
The only exception would be this short fuse B33, which I enjoyed that more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I gave Groove Grove the banana flavored one a 75. I didn't mind it as much as you. I thought it was okay for what it was. Not a favorite beer, but for what it was, not
Yeah.
bad.
Do you know
But if
that
you had
since we drank that beer, I've found that's actually there's a certain type of malt
for
or
that beer,
malted barley or whatever that they use. No, that produces that
oh
banana-y
really?
flavor. Yeah, it wasn't
It's not like
actually
infused or
banana.
something?
No, there wasn't actually like banana flavoring added. It was the specific like malt
Really?
that they use that gives off that banana like smell and flavor.
That's interesting.
And because I've had a couple other beers since then, and I now like I can just smell it,
And you know,
and I go, oh, it's a banana
That's it.
beer, and it's
Yeah.
the grain.
I think with banana stuff, I'm with you, right? Most banana things, banana taffy, banana whatever it is, I'm not really a fan of. You know what I mean?
Do you like
And
bananas?
I do like bananas though, which is really crazy. Yeah, but like banana taffy, banana bread's actually not bad. um, but banana beer, I don't know, hit or miss, I guess. But
Yeah,
would I take Budweiser over to in the fridge? Yeah, I would.
yeah.
Let's see what else. Summer Shandy.
That's your big winner.
Yeah, you know what? I look back and I rated an 84. We must have been drinking in wintertime, right? So, but I like Summer Shandy. Yeah. So I don't know why I rated it so low, but I bumped it to a 94, which for me, like you said, you give it the fridge test, you open it up. That's probably one of the beers I'm taking if there's 10 beers in there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Now you also, I believe, on the same day, also tried because we had a Leinenkugel's variety pack.
Mhm.
So we had some orange shandies, some cherry blonde lagers,
Yeah.
and some summer shandies, which is lemon flavored. You were not a fan of the cherry blonde lager from Leinenkugel.
No, one of the worst beers I've ever had. You know, it kind of tasted like you ever get cough syrup that's like cherry flavored?
Yeah.
That's how it was with beer. And speaking of that, 2 days ago over the weekend, or 4 days ago now, I went to the store and there was a can of a bottle of Coke Zero, whatever, in like a blue wrapping. I'm like, no big deal. I'm thirsty. I'm gonna buy it for $2.29. Okay. It tasted like the cherry blonde lager from Leinenkugel's. It had that cough syrup taste to it. Worst thing I've ever had in my life. So anything
What
cherry
was
like
it?
that?
What was it? It was
It's Coke. It was in like it had like a baby blue. It was 16 fluid ounces, baby blue wrapping around it. It didn't say it was like a special whatever, but it didn't say cherry flavor or cherry Coke.
but it was cherry.
It was like cough syrup. It was
Huh.
cherry Coke. I don't mind.
Yeah.
But this was it tastes just like that beer. Brought me instantly back to thinking about the box you had on here and me taking that beer and just let me have nightmares.
Yeah. Now, what I noticed for myself was that I kind of grouped the beers. I kind of you can kind of see with my re-rankings the kinds of beer I like, which
Yeah.
this is not news to me, but it kind of when you see it in a spreadsheet, it kind of sticks out. So like on the very top of my list, I have like very traditional IPAs, India
Yeah.
Pale Ales, and traditional Pilsners and lagers,
Yeah.
all including like Carlsberg, Danish Pilsner, even the Polish lager that we just recently had, Corona, Modelo, Asahi Super Dry. Like those are all light Pilsners and lagers. So those all kind of filtered up to the top of my list.
Yeah.
And then towards the very bottom of my list are all these dark beers, the Fat Tire, Arrogant Bastard Ale, Iron Maiden Trooper, 1050 Barrel Aged Beer. Those are all towards the bottom.
I think maybe we have to calm you down during the podcast, right? Because you went from a 90 to 48 on Fat Tire You went from an 85 to 44 to arrogant bastard ale. And you went from liking this a lot to have probably saying you want multiple till it's garbage.
I
don't want
know.
more
I
than
don't
one.
know. What am
It's
I
pretty
afraid
good.
of hurting people's feelings? I'm
The
not-
arrogant bastard ale.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
we had a guest bring that.
That
in.
was, yeah.
Yeah. So
right.
I could see that one. Yeah.
Right? Was that, I
Mis-
didn't
mis-
want to be rude?
Yeah.
Or maybe even to you if you brought it, like, what was my banana beer? Groove Grove.
I brought that.
What
one,
did I
yeah.
give that one?
You went from a
Original.
37,
Or was mine
or
a
you sorry,
50?
from a 50 to a
50.
34.
Okay, so at least,
So
okay,
that's
so
pretty close. I understand that.
at least on that day, I was like, this
Yeah.
is borderline. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah. You
having
thought it
it.
was garbage at the time. But Fat Tire, you loved to hate. You had
Yeah,
to break up with Fat Tire.
yeah, it's just
I
bad.
love it.
It's just bad on my part. What else? So I also compared both of our ratings. So I took your score and I looked at the same beer. I looked at my score
Yeah.
and I looked at which beers did we end up, even with the revised ratings, where are we the farthest apart?
Yeah.
And the number one difference, again, if you've been paying attention at all,
It's
not a surprise, the 1050 barrel aged beer, which was like a 11%, like
Might have been more than that.
double
Yeah,
stout
it
bourbon
might have
barrel
been.
aged, crazy. We ended up with a 48-point difference between
Yeah.
our two ratings.
Right, it makes sense, right? You really like beer. You've been drinking beer for a while, and I more have been drinking hard alcohol, right? So it just makes sense.
You like the strong,
Yeah,
that bold flavor.
Yeah,
right?
which I didn't think I did until we started doing the podcast.
And you are a huge coffee fan, right?
I am, yeah, and I can
So
drink it black too.
These
so
dark beers like this, they look like, it looks like black coffee.
it does, yeah.
And so it's got those notes of coffee, a little bit of chocolate in there.
Yeah.
And so it totally makes sense that the stouts and porters, the dark beers, the heavy alcohol is your thing.
My highest rated beers are Modelo, Corona. It's kind of weird, right?
That is, yeah, that's the
But then
interesting
again,
thing.
I don't like Miller Lite that much. So and I put those all in the same kind of category.
You are an enigma, Michael.
I am, yeah, yeah. I need to get my tongue checked out for taste palates.
Yep. Then our famous Groove Grove banana beer is up there. Fat Tire, Pipeworks Pastrami on Rye. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I gave it a 52. I would have another one.
Yeah.
But again, I want to use this whole spectrum here.
Yeah. Now, the beer that shocked me the most when I drank it, because I thought I was not going to like it, was the milkshake Naui pineapple. Going into it, we first opened it up. In my head, it's like pineapple beer, milkshake. Like, no way, this is going to be the worst beer that I've ever tasted in my life. And it shocked me. You know what I mean? I gave it, what did I give it? A 93, right? Am I looking? No, I gave it a
90.
Where you at?
Well, I gave
97.
I gave it an 80 as my new ranking.
Gotta look on my list what I gave it. Hold on here.
97 was my original one.
All right. I'm at, yeah, that's hugely high for you, right?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, my new rating for that is a 93. My old rating was a 90. But that was a beer when I saw it in my head, 40, 45. Not even gonna finish the first one because pineapple and beer, it shocked me. It was good.
You just actually stole one question off my script. Well, maybe I'm stealing a question off my own script.
We don't do scripts, people. I'm sorry.
Which is one of the questions that I had for you.
Yeah.
Was if you wanted to drink one of these beers, so you had to pick it to drink it again, to either validate your pick or see if you really liked it that much or didn't like it that much. What would that one beer be? For me, I'm asking you, I'll tell you my answer first because you just said it.
Mine,
it's the milkshake Naui pineapple.
Yeah.
That was the one that I'm like, I really want to have another one of those.
Yeah.
Was it really that good?
Right.
Maybe it was. I don't know. So
Well,
I now have
mean-
maybe a side project to work on.
yeah, or maybe next time we bring it in. But if we both gave it 90 or higher in the ratings at the time, it's got to be a pretty good beer.
Or it's got a really high alcohol content and we were.
Not if you gave it a
by
97.
by the end of
yeah,
the show.
yeah, if you're drunk with The first beer was an 80, second one was 97.
That could have been it.
And if I remember correctly, I don't remember getting like pineapple notes or anything like that.
No, it was very, very mild.
You know what we haven't tried that I've heard a lot about? Oh no, I think you recently drank it. Dragon's Milk, the milk stout.
Yeah,
I've heard good things, but I think you said
I did not. You would love it.
I would love it.
You would love it.
The
It's
milk scares me when I hear that with beer.
it's not milk. It's like this.
It's like this.
Yeah. You would love it. Yeah, if you have one, drink it. You'll love it.
I do actually. gotta
I
try it.
did not finish it. I believe I actually poured the rest out,
Nice.
which is very rare. Now, the beer that we rated most similarly is the Orville Trappist Ale. Our scores were only 2 points off from each other. You also have Carlsberg Danish Pilsner. We were 6 off. Omega Haze and Boulevard Unfiltered Wheat Beer. So kind of, you know what those are?
Those
Those are all kind of those middle of the road lagers,
Real beer.
just beers,
Yeah.
where we both had them rated kind of right in the middle. And we were consistent with our picks,
Right.
Between each other and even between how much we changed them, I think, for the most
Now
part.
I'm thinking, I don't know if I see it on here. Oh no, maybe it's under specialty drinks. Oh, there it is. Let's say I remember we drank Angry Orchard hard cider, but I guess I never know. Do people classify that as a beer?
No,
Or is it just a hard cider?
yeah, it's different. It's a different class. I think there's a different process
Yeah.
used for that. Also, we had we had Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah.
Once we
I don't
had
think either of us
a
drank
Weller Special Reserve Bourbon. Then we had the hard cider. So there were some non-beer drinks that we excluded from our
it. Yeah.
re-ranking here.
Are you happy with your list now?
I am, yeah, I'm comfortable with it. I like it. And I think what we'll do is we will, we should clean up the list here. We'll publish this out.
Yeah.
So that it's on our
Wish Power BI would let us
podcast
share it,
page.
everybody.
Oh yeah, we could put together a pretty killer dashboard probably on this, right?
Yeah. Just can't share it though with people.
We can
Screenshot
no,
it,
but
I
we can
guess.
we can
Yeah.
do some screenshots, I guess. Yeah, we can't make it interactive and
Yeah.
whatnot, but yeah, so yeah, no, overall, I'm good with it. I gave myself some room to fit some new beers in here and there could be a couple tweaks here or there, but how
Well-
much time you want to spend on that?
Right. What's left then is we've got to rate the O'Fallon Brewery Smoke Porter.
Yep.
Now earlier I was talking with Ken and I said if I had to guess for Ken, I'm going to put this at a 58 for him. Now I don't know if I'm close. I would imagine I'm sort of close, but I guess you could shock me. What kind of rating you give it?
I think you're right. You're right on. I've got a bunch of beers right in that range there. I can tell you this, it's higher than a 54 because that's a Budweiser. So if I had to go in the beer and I had these two in there, I'm probably going to get this one if I'm going for just one beer, right? I am drinking a second one here. So I did look in the fridge to see what other beers were in there. And there's a few good ones in there, but I'm still gonna. I think what number did you say?
I said 58.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 57.
Oh, did that on purpose.
Right now, right there,
just
you're right there. I do 57 because I want to fit it between Oktoberfest, Sierra Nevada, and Dynamo Copper Lager.
Gotcha. All right. So if I had to do it, I'm gonna go. What letter says? I'm gonna give it a solid 79. I like it. I like the chocolatiness of it. The smokiness, the first beer, I loved it. The second beer, maybe not as much with the smokiness. Would I take this over a Budweiser? Absolutely, but it's pretty close guess. So 79, solid 79. You could put it in the books. I'm not changing it ever.
There you go. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, this was a once in a lifetime, right, for us, where we re-rank our first 3 years of shot of Business Central and a beer rankings. So I feel like we're in a good place now. We're going to use the new rankings going forward as a reference point. And everyone, thank you for sticking along with us. And I think what we really found out through this is that we just, don't trust us, I think, is my real takeaway when it comes to beer.
We don't know what we're doing.
I think if it's Business Central, yes. Okay. Maybe we know sometimes what we're talking about. But really, when it comes to beer, just
right.
Might be drinking it 20 take years, it with a giant grain of salt, everything that we say.
Yeah. It's all personal opinion on your taste too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think we did good. I think the list is really good. It's nice and cleaned up, and I think it really highlights the differences between what I like, what you like, and on opposite ends of the spectrum. I like more manly drinks. No, I'm just kidding. No, I tend to like a stronger drink, I guess, but
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, it does it. I guess that about does it. It's been fun. As usual, share the podcast with your friends and everybody else. And next month, I believe we have Dynamic Web as a guest on the podcast. So we're looking forward to that. And we'll talk to everybody soon.
Bye-bye.
As we end today's podcast, we want to give a big thank you to everyone who listens, shares this podcast, and leaves us reviews. You've taken a good amount of your time out of your day, and we truly appreciate it. Thanks again. And don't be afraid to email us at marketing@solsyst.com with your tips for the podcast, or maybe you'd even like to be a guest during an episode.